Okay, so once again, requesting the following paper presenters this afternoon to please proceed to the registration table for a short briefing. So PSDS Mary Christine Agarin, PSDS Gina Luz Alfilor, and PSDS Michael John Ranyada. So there will be special meeting with you regarding your presentation this afternoon. Thank you.
There's not hour, day or night that I don't love you. You're at the top of my list cause I'm always thinking of you. I still remember in the days when I was scared to touch you, how I spent my day dreaming, planning how to say I love you. You must have known that I had feelings deep enough to swim in. That's when you opened up your heart and you told me to come in. Oh, my love. A thousand kisses from you is never too much. I just don't wanna stop. Oh, my love. A million days in your arms is never too much. I just don't wanna stop. Too much, never too much, never too much, never too much.
let us acknowledge the presence of the Regional Director of the Department of Education Region 5. Palakpakan po natin, Dr. Gilbert T. Sadsad, CESO 3. Thank you, sir, for coming. Okay. So since we are still waiting for the others to come, so we shall have first a photo opportunity with our beloved regional director. So may I request the Board of Trustees to please join our our director, regional director, for a photo opportunity. Then that will be followed by a photo opportunity with the PSDS coming from the different division. So may I request the Board of Directors to please be ready because in few seconds we'll have a photo op with our regional director.
Please settle down. We are about to begin with our second day of our Congress. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to day 2 of the second Regional Research Congress here at Vela Hotel. Yesterday, we witnessed inspiring presentation, rich discussions, and meaningful collaborations. Today, we continue that momentum with another exciting lineup of sessions that highlight innovation, impact, and the power of research in shaping our communities. Let's keep the energy high, the ideas flowing, and the conversation vibrant as we move through today's program. On behalf of the organizers, the PSDSA Bicol Region, thank you for being here and for making this Congress a true celebration of knowledge and collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, to further ignite our sense of pride and unity, we now invite everyone to join in the singing of a nationalistic song. This will be presented through an ABP that reminds us of our shared heritage and collective aspirations. May this song inspire us to continue working together for the progress of our nation. Please rise.
Ako ay Pilipino, ang dugo'y maharlika. Likas sa aking puso at hikain kay kanda. Sa Pilipinas na aking bayan, lantay na perlas ng silanganan, wari na tipo ng kayamanan ng may kapal. Ika'y sa'king talino sa mabuti lang laan. Sa aki katutubo ang maging mapagmahal. Ako ay Pilipino. Ako ay Pilipino. Isang bansa, isang diwa ang minimithi ko. Sa bayang ko't bandila, laan buhay ko't diwa. Ako ay Pilipino, Pilipinong totoo. Ako ay Pilipino. Ako ay Pilipino. Taas noo kahit kanino. Ang Pilipino ay ako.
Let us pause and center ourselves in
O
reflection.
God, the creator of the heavens and the universe, you are worthy of our praises. In you alone we pray and submit ourselves, for we are nothing without you. We humbly ask for your forgiveness and mercy. Dear Lord, we gather here today with the intent of doing good in thy name. Guide us to the right path. May our efforts be blessed with insight, understanding, wisdom, and respect for all. May our deep faith in you give us strength to act honestly and well in all matters before us. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you for joining in that solemn moment of reflection. May the guidance we sought in prayer continue to inspire our thoughts and actions throughout today's Congress. Let us now proceed with the program. At this point, we shall proceed with the checking of attendance to be formally given to us by Ms. Gurley S. Belza, the Public Schools District Supervisor of Bula District 1 School Division Office of Camarines Sur.
Hello. Thank you, Sir Robert. Magandang morning, everyone. Okay, for the checking of attendance, we are going to do this. Next slide, please. Okay, best groupie picture Facebook emojis edition. So each SDO must take one groupie where each member is actively posing as a unique emoji from the list below using either facial expression or your body gesture. So at your table, dyan na lang din po ninyo gagawin yung naka-assign sa inyong emoji. And then you will say the number of present as of today po. So, ready na ba? Parang matamlay yung araw natin ngayon. Ready na po ba? Okay, let's go. For SDO, Albay. Right? Okay, SDO Albay. Saan na ba yung camera man natin para Okay. Ready? That's a kiss. Mwah. Okay, ready, go. Ang cute. Thank you. How many are you po? Okay, SDO Albay are 9 present for today. Next, SDO Camarines Norte. Okay po ma'am. Show the emoji. Wow! So, okay, you are 3. And next, SDO Iriga City. Opo. February na February. You are 2. Okay, thank you very much. SDO Legazpi City. Salute kay ma'am. Kayang-kayang mag-isa. Buhatin ang SDO Legazpi City. SDO Ligao City.
Sit tight right where you are,
Yan,
babe.
si ma'am. Care. That's Scary Act. Okay, they are 3 in SDO Ligao City. And for Masbate City. Okay, they are 7 out of 7. Thank you po. SDO Masbate. Very strong. Laban. Fight. Aja. Ilan po kayo? 12 out of 12? 12 out of 14. They're still waiting for the 2. Okay, thank you very much. Next, SDO Naga City. Belat. Oh, show us your tongue. Okay. 4 out of 4 complete. Okay, thank you po. Next is SDO Sorsogon City. Nandun po sila sa part na yon. O, quiet please. Wag daw kayong maingay, sabi ng Sorsogon City. And they are 3 out of 3. Ay, pareho. Sorry. SDO Tabaco City. Okay, may pa-heart react sila. 2 out of 2. May na-omit ba ako? Ito po. That should be Catanduanes. Sige po. Apo, sorry, nadoble ko po yung Sorsogon City. May province. Sige po. Sorsogon Province. Sorsogon Province. Ayan. Sorry po ha. Hindi ko na-double check. You are thinking why you were omitted. You are 7 out of 7. Thank you po. Catanduanes. Ano na kaya pong emoji ang ipapagawa ko sa inyo? Okay po. Thumbs up. Na-omit ko po. I'm very sorry. Okay. They are 5 out of 5. Thank you very much. And the last one. SDO Camarines Sur. Heart, a heart for everyone. Okay, we are 48 out of 48. Kayo na po ang mag-confirm. Bilangin nyo na lang po kami kung kompleto. So thank you very much for your active participation and our checking of attendance.
So thank you so much, Miss Gurley. So for presenting to us the attendance for today. With everyone duly acknowledged, we are assured of the strong participation that gives life to this Congress. This time, ladies and gentlemen, may I call in Professor Edgardo L. Bismonte, Professor of Bicol University, for the launching of the PSDSA hymn Bicol Region.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. So today we have played already the PSDA hymn, but this morning we shall have the formal launching as well as the formal introduction of the lyricist, the composer of that song. The hymn signifies the significant role of the organization in the transformative education. So I would like to request everyone to please rise and kantahin po natin ang hymn. Namnamin natin, damdamin natin ang mensahe ng kanta. So I would like to request everyone to please rise as we sing all together the hymn. The PSDSA hymn.
We serve with pride, where mountains meet the radiant tide. The PSDSA of Region 5 stands strong, with committed instructional leadership, our guiding star. For every learner near and far, PSDSA of Region 5. Proudly we stand, Pico Region Association of District Supervisors, branch united hand in hand. For supervisors, school heads, teachers, we strive for the welfare of learners. We keep dreams alive with service, honor, and devotion true. We pledge to uphold our mission across our schools and every home. We guide each teacher as they grow. The Public Schools District Supervisors Association, PSDSA uplifts each district, each foundation. Through every challenge we remain, with guidance firm and steadfast aim, steadfast guardians of learning's flame, advancing quality education's name. PSDSA of Region 5, proudly we stand, Pico Region Association of District Supervisors, brands united hand in hand. Through instructional leadership we light the way, for every child we serve each day. For supervisors, school heads, teachers we care, and for every learner's future we prepare. Forever we proclaim service excellence, our enduring flame. PSDSA Region 5, our mission we fulfill. Pico Region Association of District Supervisors, proud, steadfast, strong and still.
Yan, a round of applause as the hymn says, with Bicol Region Association of District Supervisors. Our local name we bear. We lead with wisdom, hope, and care. Instructional leadership, our guiding star for every learner near and far. So what a beautiful song, what a beautiful lyric. And at this juncture, bigyan po natin ng isang masigabong palakpakan. The lyricist, the lyric-inspired and initiator, no less than Dr. Cyril Salazar. Palakpakan po natin si ma'am. And the music arranger by Edeline B. Bandojo, Teacher 3. Okay. Palakpakan po natin. Maraming salamat for this beautiful song. May this song inspired us every day. Okay. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, sir. So as we begin the second day of our Congress, it is my honor to call on Miss Julia Olino Hernales, the Public Schools District Supervisor of Balatan District, the School Division Office of Camarines Sur, and at the same time, the newly confirmed Career Executive Service eligible to formally introduce our first speaker for today.
Thank you to our eloquent and handsome MC, Sir Pading Robert Briones. To the President of the RVPSDSA, Dr. Cyril Salazar, together with the officers, Board of Directors, resource speakers, guests, fellow PSDSS, education program supervisors, the TWG, friends all, good morning. Allow me to introduce a phronetic and exceptional leader whose dedication and vision have profoundly shaped the landscape of education in our region. Our keynote speaker exemplifies integrity, competence, and unwavering commitment to the learners, teachers, and communities he serves by providing clear direction, grounded policies, and evidence-based decisions that uplift both learners, teaching, and non-teaching personnel. His noteworthy initiatives on the regions he was assigned were impactful and worthy to be replicated and sustained. To mention some of his commendable projects are Project SHAPE, Schoolheads Advancement for Performance Excellence in Negros Island Region, the 333 Strategy of Providing Service to the Clientele, Greater Access to Opportunities to Schools Without Permit, and Mobile Processing of Government School Permits in Region 4B. He advocates in Region 5 the Project SMILE and the mantra DepEd Bicol care, shares, and serves with a smile that ensures effective and efficient delivery of services, the Project 6Bs, and many more. He champions the welfare of the teachers. In his term, there were hundreds of teachers promoted through reclassification even before the ECP implementation. With his heart for teachers and strong advocacy for the betterment of teachers and employees of DepEd, he was given the position the president of the PPSTA, or the Philippine Public Schools Teachers Association, the largest professional organization for public school teachers in the Philippines. He is a strategic and forward-thinking leader, able to identify emerging needs, anticipate challenges, and mobilize resources to support schools and divisions. He actively builds strong partnership with LGUs, stakeholders, and communities, recognizing that education thrives through collaboration. He cultivates a positive work environment, empower division leaders, and motivate teachers by recognizing their efforts and ensuring professional growth opportunities. Because of his exemplary leadership, he was promoted as CESO 3, a rank for highly competent, career-oriented executive in our government. He was awarded as regional winner in the 2025 Search for Outstanding Government Workers CSC Pag-asa Award individual category. Recently, he was appointed as member of the Board of Trustees of the GSIS. His leadership capabilities was honed by the experience he had because he rose from the ranks from his humble beginnings as a teacher, school head, then to Assistant Schools Division Superintendent, Schools Division Superintendent, and Regional Director. The various trainings and scholarships he attended, to mention was his notable accomplishment at the Development Academy of the Philippines for his Senior Executive Class, or SEC. SEC is designed for senior officials who possess outstanding intellectual and creative abilities, deep commitment to public service, and demonstrate potential for shaping policy management at higher levels of government. Beyond administrative excellence, he inspires, empowers, and fosters innovation across all schools in Region 5. His leadership is not about managing systems, it's about transforming lives, building trust, and creating an environment where learners and educators alike can thrive. With this, may I share this acronym for him. G, greatness in action. He strived not just to lead, but to make meaningful impact through every decision and action. I, inspire others. He ignite passion and motivate his team to achieve beyond expectations. L, listen and learn. He embrace feedback, values diverse perspective, and grow alongside their people. B, bravery to innovate. Take bold steps. Embrace challenges and turn obstacles into opportunities. E, he empowers everyone. Build others up, cultivate their strengths, and create a culture of shared success. R, resilience in adversity. He stands firm in difficult times, adapting and persevering with unwavering commitment. And T, transform through trust. He leads with integrity and transparency, earning trust that inspires loyalty and collaboration. Friends, it is with great pride and honor to introduce to you an outstanding and principled public servant who embodies the ideals of public service and stands as a model of what an effective visionary regional director should be. He will discuss with us the expanded career progression system of the DepEd Order 24 Series 2025. Friends, let us welcome our very own Regional Director, Dr. Gilbert T. Sadsad, CESO 3, Director 4 of Region 5. Palakpakan po natin si RD.
Hello. Thank you very much. Tukaw na po kamo tadi ako sa naipagtindugan. Minsan nga ni dahil na nagtitindog. Joke lang. O di ba? Pag ako ang sa indong speaker, mapuon ka mo sa pagnirit. Okay. How are you? Yes. I really want to see you fine and happy so that we can prolong our lives, di ba? Yun ang dapat yung gawin. Huwag na kayo masyadong nakasimangot. Maski dahil na nagtitindog, magtindog pa rin. Okay, good morning. And thank you very much for the invite. Medyo mahirap na ang sikat ngayon, no? Ang dami ng invitation. Honestly, may invitation yung Camarines Sur retired PSDS ngayon. I told them, sorry, doon ako sa mga incumbent. Sa ano na muna kayo. Kasi ngayon din na tanghali. But I have to shorten my talk because may regional press conference kami. Kaya po ako kang mga media para ma-disseminate ang mga informasyon. Kaya sabi ko, mapasalamat na lang ako pag nagtindog ako digdi, mayo na ning discussion. Tahalawig na si introduction ni Jules, di ba? Anyway, it's happy to see everyone. Unang-una, bago ang iba, may I know among the province or cities, by the way, I've seen Nelson Morales, nasaan na si Nelson? Ito. O, kita mo yan. And of course, your President, Mading Cyril. I'd like to ask, aside from Garchitorena, sino yung hardly hit ng 1? Garchitorena, Karamoan, Siruma, Parugkan, yang 4? Baka yung iba hindi man, ha? Ano yun? Lagonoy North, okay. Catanduanes, and of course yung part of Tiwi, Albay. Tabako na hardly hit ba? Hindi. Hindi ano? Okay. Yung Opong is dalawang masbate ang hardly hit. I will be asking from the PSDS of those group hardly hit by Typhoon Uwan to give me the list of the schools, at least top 5 na tinamaan. Tapos, we will be asking for some picture because we will be inviting the school head in a ceremony that I will be sponsoring here in Bicol Region for a turnover of a small amount for assistance coming from the PPSDA. Okay? So we will be giving them financial assistance. Pinakamataas na yata ang 5,000. Yeah, we're giving we're giving a small amount to those schools. Okay ba? Question is, where will you submit that? Yung PSDS na lang, ilista, tapos probably in my messenger, you can send the pictures. Kasi pipilian din namin kung sino ang bibigyan. Konting amount lang to, just a start na hindi kayo na-isolate na baka sabihin nyo walang ginagawa ang PPSTA. Okay? So yung sa GSIS, wala ako masabi muna. Ha? I'm still studying and adjusting. But one thing good in GSIS na nakaupo ako, our fund is the asset of GSIS, pwede kong i-report na 1.94 trillion as of October. In other words, the lifespan of the fund will end, kumbaga sa pwedeng mag-support up to 2058 or 2060. Kung iyan na sana ang satuyang pondo. But since GSIS continuously investing, so the more that it will gain, tataas pa ang lifespan ng fund. So in short, there is nothing to worry for our retirement even if you retire by 2060. Sino ba ang aabot ng 2060? Magre-retire ba kayo doon? Anyway, if ever you've seen some report na nalulugi, there is a paper loss. When you say paper loss, nag-invest kasi ang GSIS sa stock market. Ang stock market ngayon, pababa. Pababa ang stock market dahil sa political, yung instability ng bansa. So, lahat ng stock market bumababa. Ang sabi, paper loss kasi hindi pa sino-surrender. Pag sinurrender mo, that is the actual loss. Pag habang hawak mo pa ang investment mo, hindi pa yan totoong lugi. Okay? So, yan po ang report ko sa Indo. And those who will avail the emergency loan, may moratorium na 3 months na hindi kayo kukolektahan. Okay? So yan na muna. Honestly, ngayon ko lang papunta ako dito nakakuha ng PowerPoint dito sa ECP, the Expanded Career Progression for Teachers. Supposedly, this will be discussed to you by Yusek Cabral, but the national office has a lot of engagement, lalong-lalo na sa budget hearing, sa kung saan-saan. Kaya, sabi ni Don, kung pwede, ako nang mag-discuss. Kagabi pa ako naghahanap, sabi nung personnel, ito lang sir ang may bigay ko sa iyo ngayong umaga, 8 o'clock while I was traveling to Vela. Kaya, tayong lahat ay mag-aral. So this is the PowerPoint was given to the personnel unit or the in charge of personnel when they oriented our people. Ako, kayo, hindi kasama dito, di ba? Hindi man tayo oriented. But then, I just read the memorandum number 24 on what is this expanded career progression for our people. Okay? So, hindi na natin yan i-discuss kung ano ang objectives. Okay. So, yan ang mga basis ng expanded career progression. Nagsimula sa Executive Order number 174, Series of 2022, nung bago mag-lapse ang term ni President Duterte. Then, there was a DBM joint circular sa pig-aapod ng Modified Position Classification and Compensation. Nag-issue naman ngayon ng department order. Then, nagawa yung IRR pala ng ECP noong 2022. Anong nagawa yon? Nagawa ang IRR base sa executive order. Then we have the DO-19 Series of 2025. Ito ay mga binasihan o kumbaga saan nagsimula ang expanded career progression. Yan po. O session 1, 5 minutes. Okay yan. Yan ay yung executive order number 174 nang sinasabi will promote professional development and career progression of teachers and define the career lines within the public school system that applies to all teachers in the elementary, secondary, and senior high school. Ito na. Ang pinakamataas ay Master Teacher 5 na kaparehas na ng sahod ninyo, na kaparehas din ng sahod ng School Principal 4. Okay? Tapos, meron siyang group or classification. Una, siyempre ang pinakamababa ay Teacher 1, 2, and 3, that is one group. Then, as you go to Teacher 4 to 7, that is another career path or group. Then, you start with Master Teacher 1. Tapos, ang papunta na dito sa 2, 3, and 4. And the last career group is Master Teacher 5, which is now equivalent to your salary. Ang tanong, bakit nagkaganon? Kasi gusto natin yung magagaling talaga. Hindi lang magaling, matyaga, at may commitment at dedikasyon sa trabaho, sa pagturo, ay manatili sa pagtuturo. Di ba? Hindi naman ibig sabihin wala kayong dedikasyon. You have, but you have chosen to be a public schools district supervisor. Just like the school heads, na sila din ay pumunta sa career path ng school head. Okay? Sige. Parang hindi yan masyado sa inyong... ito, ang gusto ng EO 174, wala ng public school teacher na mag-retire ng Teacher 1 lamang. Totoo ba yan? Sa ngayon, maaari na. But before, we keep on saying that, but there was a problem sa pag-promote or sa ERF to Teacher 2 kasi ang sabi ng DBM, kung ikaw ay nag-avail na ng step increment, naalala nyo yan? Hindi ka na pwedeng ma-promote without masteral unit na 20 points or 20 units, 20 points na maski na automatic to Teacher 2. Pero ngayon, wala na yon. Meron ng policy that was revised na kahit ikaw ay nag-i-step increment, you can go to higher position. Okay? So, sabi teacher career path should allow them to remain in the classroom while advancing in state and compensation. This is what I'm saying. We want our teachers to really stay in the classroom and to make use of their passion in teaching. Kasi pag talagang gusto mong magturo, mas nagiging epektibo ka. Pero kung ikaw talaga ay dedicated to teach but walang masyadong advancement sa career, pupunta ka sa isang path na minsan you fail. Merong mga ganun. Tingnan nyo yung mga katabi nyo. Ikaw ba ay naging failure sa teaching career mo? Kaya ka nandito sa PSDS? Oh, tanong lang naman. Oh. Huwag nyo naman seryosuhin. Okay? Then, teachers should be given career options between classroom teaching and school administration. Naalala ko na to. I was still a principal. I've been sitting in the promotion board of the Camarines Sur. May mga master teacher pupunta sa school sa principal. Si Chief Lita, master teacher yan, papunta ng principal. Si Mrs. Buckley, ganon. Kasi naupuan ko sila sa promotion. At yung MT1 noon, parang nag-principal to ba direkta? Parang ganon, di ba? MT1 pumunta sa principal 2 because of salary, grade. So yun ang mga problema noon. Ngayon, biglang nawala yun. But now, it's being returned and given back to teachers na pwede ka uli na mag-career shift, magpalit. Pero hindi pwedeng palit ng palit. Diba? Okay, next is, ayan, teachers' career advancement should be based on quality of teaching practice. Kaya merong PPST. Dagdagan mo ng A, PPSTA. Alam mo ba PPST? Oh, baka hindi nyo na yan naalala. Oh, Philippine Public School Professional Standard for Teachers. Professional Standard for Teachers. So, PPST. Okay. Nagsisir Ips rin na, Joanne. Bawal ang Sir Ip. Okay, ito ang dapat na ma-advance ang sa indang mga career. Okay? Wag na tayo dyan. Okay. In the Philippines, teacher promotion occur at an alarming slow rate. Okay? Honestly, even when I was a principal, superintendent, laging napakarami ng teacher 1. Pero, given that opportunity to be your regional director, na-close natin yung problema na teacher will no longer be waiting for 3 to 5 years para ma-implement ang ARF. Sa ngayon po, kung ang graph noon in Bicol, mataas ang teacher 1, pababa sa teacher 3. Ngayon po, baliktad. May data po ang regional office. Ang teacher 3 na ang pinakamataas, pababa sa teacher 1. So there was it was already inverted. Na dati noon, napakaraming teacher 1. Ngayon po sa Bicol, maraming teacher 3. Okay? And of course, after December, titingnan uli natin, probably by January or February, we will be presenting another graph. Ilan ba ang teacher 7, teacher 6, teacher 5, teacher 4? Kasi marami ngayon tayong na-submit na sa DBM for implementation for the reclassification of teachers' position from teacher 1, teacher 2, teacher 3, up to teacher 7. Okay? Next. Okay na yan. Okay, sabi sa EDCOM report, EDCOM 2, yung EDCOM 1, naalala ninyo? Sino ang head ng EDCOM 1? Aber? Edgardo Angara. Sa ngayon, EDCOM 2 na. Sino ang head? Hindi. Si Senator Win Gatchalian. Okay? Ito ang kanilang recommendation. Institutionalize career progression for public school teachers, harmonize qualification standards and assessment, promote merit-based and flexible career progression. Kaya po, hinihinguha kang DepEd na talagang ngunya na taon ma-implement na yan na ECP. Did you know that the final orientation was done in October and for implementation October, and we are only given 1 month to process all the documents for reclassification. In our records for all the divisions, 13 divisions, we are to reclassify 15,000 positions in DepEd Region 5 for 1 month. Grabing pasakit, no? But, hindi lang 1 month, it was shortened because there were divisions like yung mga binagyo naghagad ning extension. Kaya nakasubmit November 10. So iba pa, katanduan is November 13. So pirang aldaw na sana yan na i-process. Kaya nahirak ako sa mga tao na halos siya na duman sa conference room hanggang 9 o'clock. I was 10 o'clock ako kasubanggi tapos magperma. Nandoon pa rin sila. Nagtatrabaho ng mga reclass ng mga teachers. See? That's a big sacrifice where we also ask assistance from the people in the different divisions na magtabang. Dahil kung ang 5 tao sa region dai kayang matapos ang 15,000 plus na reclassification. But meron pa rin mga problema. Honestly, as I look at them, hindi matatapos yung 15,000 because there are also factors to be considered. Hindi validated yung mga data ng mga division, lalo na sa reclassification to master teachers in the secondary. Okay, so tama na yan. So, here is the response of the government for our teachers. Create more opportunities for promotion for qualified teachers, boost teacher morale, etc. Ito naman ang sabi ni President Marcos, we have allocated funds to finally implement the expanded career progression, etc., etc. Walang mag-retire na teacher 1. Kaya po, in some divisions, inuna yung mga matatanda na kaedad ko na unahin para sa reclassification kasi they are about to retire. Kaya may mga nagtanong sa akin, Sir, bakit sa amin inuna yung mga 50 plus and above na teachers na ma-reclass? Sabi ko, pagbigyan nyo yan. Few years to go, they will retire. And we will fulfill that promise of the government na walang mag-retire na teacher 1. Sabi ko dun sa nag-text, ilang taong ka na? 5 years pa lang ko sa teaching. So wag ka na munang mainggit doon sa matatanda. Kasi yung matatanda, 20 years, 30 years na yan sa teaching, teacher 1. Diba? Okay, so yun ang ating dapat i-communicate sa ating mga kaguruan. Although, this was a question of the DBM in our performance review. Kasi ina-audit kami ng DBM. Bakit ang mga nare-reclass, yung ERF pa, ay mga bago pa lang sa serbisyo? Bakit yung matatanda ay hindi daw nagsasubmit ng reclassification? So we answered that one factor is educational or masteral degree. Kasi karamihan sa mga guro natin na kaedad ninyo, hindi lang ako, ay nauna ang pamilya bago ang sarili. Di ba? So, nakalimutan niya ng magdagdag ng educational attainment. Kaya, 30 years in service, teacher 1. 3 years in service, teacher 3. 5 years in service, master teacher 1. Kasi sinda si mahigos mag-aradal, mag-iriskwela. Oh. Tapos, sinda si paborito kang mga PSDS. Tayo ang para-computer kan sa indang mga report. Diba? Oh. Magtuga ka mo. Kitaman sana. Anyway. Okay, here is the class. Teacher 1 to 7, salary grades 11 to 17. Look at that. Master teacher 1 to 5, salary grade 18 to 22. School principal 1 to 4, 19 to 22. So yun na. Maaring nagtatanong kayo na wala yung head teacher. That will soon to be dissolved. Kasi ang magiging position lang is teacher, master teacher, at school principal. But if they do not like to shift, they will remain to be head teacher until they retire. Kaya wag nyo silang apihin. Oh, hindi ko na yan uulitin. Okay. Ito'y ang development framework. From recruitment, stage 1 beginning. Yan ang classification sa PPST, walang A, PPST. Then, as you, siyempre pag mga beginning, teacher 1 yan. Or teacher 2. As you improve, you go to stage 2, which you can be considered proficient. Paano ang proficient? Sige, medyo alam na ang mga practices sa pagtuturo, di ba? Proficient ka na. Iniiwan na yung bag, wala yung tao. Di ba? Pag ikot ni PSD as a principal, ay nandiyan ang bag ni Madam. So, present. Then, highly proficient. Ito ang highly proficient. Magaling na siyang magturo. At saka magaling na rin magpalusot. Diba? Oh. Yan ang guro na wala ng non-readers. Pagsimula, non-readers lahat. Pagtapos, walang non-readers. Pagsimula uli, lahat non-readers. And of course, stage 4, distinguished. You can already go up to teacher 7, master teacher. Kaya po importante ang PPSTA. Dahil dito ika-classify ang mga guro. Kaya kung maaari, you guide your teachers if they continuously belong to beginning. 30 years na sa service, beginning pa rin. Because there are teachers who do not like to be observed. Meron akong experience niyan. May problema yung isang principal, in-invite ako na mag-observe. So, pagpunta ko doon sa school, naupo ako, yung teacher, sabi sa akin, ano pong tuyo mo? Oh. Ay sabi ko, ma'am, ma-observe ako. Hain po sa lesson plan. Taano ta ma-observe ka? Oh. Ako po si Mr. Sadsad. Ay, ika si Mr. Sadsad. Oh, sige, sir. Nagduman siya sa inutan. sige ang kuti-kuti ka mga papel hanggang sa magtapos ang time na ima nakastart pagtukdo. See? So we talk. Nagtuga siya dahil siya tuod na pag-obserbahan. Okay? So ano ang gusto mo para mahiling ta na talaga okay na dyan? So sabi niya, di ko nga niya Sir Aram, o sige, matago na lang ako. Dahil kumapaaram na yaon na. Basta sabi ko sa oras na hindi nagtutukdo ka na. Okay. So, nagtukdo. Ito talaga ang sa iyang problema. Probably, that teacher ay merong phobia sa mga school heads at mga supervisor tulad nyo. Diba? Lagi natin isama sarili natin. Do not get out from the circle because most of the times we are causing problems, including the director. Ako hindi ko inaalis. Kaya dapat isama nyo yon. Kasi baka kung ang dating nyo doon, where is your lesson plan? Oh, start teaching. Diba? Mga ganon. Sige. Okay. Ano na? Oh, sige. Oh, ito. Ito yung switching. Master Teacher 5 ka, pwede kang pumunta sa Principal 4, pero dapat, nasa distinguish. Ha? Oo, passer. Nakalimutan ko pala, passer. Passer, what I mean is that sa PPSH, for school heads. Ano yung stage 4 sa PPSH? Distinguished din, di ba? Distinguished. Okay. O nasaan na? Huwag mong inalo. Wala akong Nasaan na? Doon. Okay. Entry and advancement in classroom. Hiring and promotion, the same. Wala mang pagbabago. Without precluding through, okay. Ito po ang mangyayari. Once na wala kang kalaban sa ECP kundi sarili mo. Gusto mong mag-teacher 7, ayusin mo ang qualification, ang competence. Hindi ka na makikipag-rank kung kani-kanino. Kasi on your own, you can go to that stage basta you are ready also for that position. Ang mahirap kung hindi ka ready. Ang papel mo lang ang ready. Di ba? Oh, naintindihan nyo yan. And of course, isa sa maganda sa ECP, pag bakante ang posisyon, hindi na ito a-applyan. This automatically be dissolved para wala nang away. Because most of the times, yung magkaibigan ay nagsisiraan dahil sa promotion. Nag-aagawan sa posisyon. Kaya ngayon, once na mabakate, pwedeng i-dissolve at ibabalik na teacher 1 or teacher 2 kung ano ang pwedeng magkasya ang budget for that position. Pwedeng gawing non-teaching. Okay? Kasi maraming ng kwento. Magkakaibigan, biglang nasunog ang pagkakaibigan dahil sa promotion. Even in sa mga superintendent, meron kami noon 3 Marias dahil sa promotion, single Maria na lang natira. Diba? Because of promotion. Kaya nga sabi ko kay Pading Dad San Antonio, butit hindi tayo nagkaparehas sumabay na magpasa. Kasi kung nagkasabay tayo, magkaaway tayo ngayon. By the way, Diosdado San Antonio is now my staff. Siya ang aking utusan ngayon sa GSIS. Pinapakilala ko sa inyo. Ang dati nating sinasamba ngayon ang alalay ko sa GSIS. Jokingly aside, we're best friend until today. Kinuha ko siyang chief of staff sa GSIS. Siya ang taga-schedule, siya ang taga-ano ng aking breakfast, siya ang taga-basa ng mga papel na aking i-discuss. O, ganun. Eh, nung panahon na siya ang Yusek, gawin mo to, gawin mo to. Ngayon, gawin mo to. O. Okay, next. Okay, promotion shall not be non-hierarchical provided the following are met. Career stage-based advancement and 3-grade salary limit. Hindi pwedeng tumaas ng sobra. Kasi yung teacher 3 to master teacher 1, more than 3 salary grade ang pag-lift, pagtaas. Pero ngayon, ma-observe talaga kita kang 3 salary grade. Kaya yung mga teacher 2, teacher 3 can be reclassified to teacher 5 or 6. Okay? So wala nang problema sa civil service. Next, scrap and build. Ito nang sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, pwedeng matanggal. Okay? Okay. Entry advancement, you have CSC approved qualification standard, education, training. Those are basic. Oh, hindi man nababago, may kunti lang. Huwag na tayo dyan matulog. Okay. Switching career lines. Switching of career lines shall be allowed once. Diba? Hindi yung pabalik-balik. Kaya nga, kung gusto mo ito, teacher ka, master teacher, diyan ka na after one decision. Hindi yung nakakita kang maganda dito, dito ka na naman. Di ba? Kaya ang tawag niyan sa inyo, salawahan, kasi you keep on switching. O, pati suagom, pig switch. Applicant must met the QS, etc., the same process. Okay. Who is covered by the ECP system? Lahat po na teaching position. Teacher, ALS, ano pa? SPED, NESPED, IPE, Madrasa also. Lahat po covered. Okay? Except yung mga guidance counselor. Hindi naman yung teaching position, di ba? Okay. Who is covered? Not covered, ito. Not covered guidance, vocational, school librarian, teachers in non-dep ed. Of course, yun. Okay. Fact or myth? Ang mga guro mula sa career stage 1 ay pwedeng direktang tumalon sa career stage 3. Ano ang sagot? Ha? Is it a fact or a myth? Myth. Dati yan, fact. Kasi teacher 3 pwede noon sa MT1. But this time, hindi na. No? Next. Ang mga guro ay maaring mag-apply sa CT or SA career line kahit higit sa 3 salary grades ang pagitan mula sa kanilang fact or myth, except when the promotional appointment falls within the purview of any applicable exemptions granted by the CSC. Although that is myth, pero there are also exemptions, and the exemptions are based on Civil Service Commission guidelines and policies. Okay. Ayon sa bagong expanded career progression system, ang isang guro ay maaaring pumili ng kanyang career track, whether teaching career or school administration career line, upon reaching master teacher 2 position. Ha? It's a myth. Kasi from the very start, pwede kang magpili na kung saan ka pupunta. Diba? Hindi mo hintayin na magpunta ka sa Master Teacher 2. Teachers may choose between, upon reaching Master Teacher 1, I should say. Pag nag-reach ka ng Master Teacher 1, you can choose. Pwede ka bang mag-school administrator or remain in teaching? Next, pahirapan ang promotion, fact or myth? Sa ngayon kasi hindi naiintindihan, nahihirapan ang iba. Lalo na doon sa mga enkoy at koy. Sabi ko, walang problema yan na koy at inkoy na yan. Pumunta ka doon sa Japanese restaurant. Ang dami doon mga koy. Hindi, kung yan kasi necessary, how will you show to us that you have that competence? Okay? So, the best that we can do is to communicate to the teachers na necessary yan na mga koy-koy na yan. Honestly, ang koy, good, ano yan? Oh, good omen? Oh. Pag marami ka daw na koy, ikaw ay yayaman. Kaya sabi ko kay Mrs. pag-retire ko, mag-alaga tayo na maraming koy. Oh. Okay. Dahil ko araw ko makanorood inis ako. Okay. All parameters for school heads and master teachers. Okay. O, ganito na lang. Di ba noon, even sa pag-allocate ng master teacher 1, how many percent? 10%. O, bako na yan sa district. Ang principal 1, 2, 3, 4 noon, number of teachers. Ngunyan, bako na yan. Di ba? Even last year, bako na yan. Sa ngunyan, for kindergarten, sa principal, one school principal item, regardless of position, title, or level, shall be authorized for every unique school. Oh, ang target, kasi hindi pa naman lahat may principal item. Ang target talaga, every school, kahit maliit na school, dapat principal ang nagmamanage. Pagdating sa guro, one master teacher item for every 5 teachers within the school regardless of position title. School level. Kaya ang mga niyaon sa bukid, dahil na mahadit na perming ang may master teacher yaon sa central school. Basta igwa kaning 6 teachers, ang saro dyan magiging master teacher. Okay? Secondary, one plantilla item for every 5 teachers per subject within the school, regardless. The same pa rin sa secondary. Sa bawat 5 plus 1 master teacher, kaya palaging 5 plus 1. Hindi 5 lang, isa ang master teacher. No. For every 5, mayroong isang master teacher. Kaya 5 plus 1. For secondary, the same. One plantilla for every 5 teachers per track within the school regardless of position. So, ang mga big high school na maraming senior high school teachers, pwede sila basta merong 5 plus 1 sa track na yon. Hindi po yung track na binangga. So, track offering. Okay? By the way, we join, we sympathize those. From Nabwa daw yun eh. Okay. Regional Science, multi-grade. Ito ang maganda ngayon. Sa multi-grade ngayon, may pag-asa na. Dahil, for one master teacher, every 3 teachers within the school. Kaya kung 4 ang teacher sa isang elementary Sa ALS, for every 5 teachers, basta within the division sa ALS, merong 1 master teacher. Sa ISNET, 1 master teacher for every 5 special need teacher, pwedeng magpariklas ng master teacher. Okay? So yan ang pagbabago. Ang nabago, bako na itong mahagad kami ng district bulletin na kukuhon so 10% kang teachers, hahalion so mga master teacher, tapos ikukwentahon ang allocated number of MTs. Ngunyan, for every 5 sa school. Ha? Bako ng district. Kaya ang hapot, hain si mga master teachers nindo nasa central, baka wala na silang ano. Anyway, maganda yon. Doon naman tayo sa mga elementary schools na yaon sa Bukid o sa Hararayo. Okay? Is that the end? Doon? Nawawala? Kasi may ano din talaga ako, may regional press con, baka naghaharalat na sa mga media, pati sa media. Okay. So yan. Anyway, kung hindi ko man mas maintindihan nyo to, if you will be given copy of this, soft copy lang. Kaya hingin nyo yan kay Mading Cyril. Okay? Sa bagong career progression, ang master teacher rate sa secondary school, I want is halda. Wrong. 1 is for every 5. Fact yun, pero to be created. Okay? No more? Black, green board. Okay. Anyway, at least you have the information. Ang mahalaga ngayon, there is now a new scheme that will continue to motivate our teachers to professionally grow in their career. Pero may pakiusap din ako sa inyo. As supervisor, what can you do to improve the literacy and numeracy competencies of our students? Ito ang problema natin. Nagmo-monitor pa ba kayo sa mga klase? Mag-monitor at mag-supervise, magdagdag ng mga, wag nyo namang bigyan ng maraming gawain. Baka kasi meron kayong project sad-sad, talagang very sad yan. Have you not noticed that I only have a very few projects? Yung smile lang, race, yan, isa lang naman yan. Pero wag na kayong magsabing maraming Project A, Project B, Project C, Project D because I've been in the classroom. I started as a teacher. I know the feeling. Pag maraming project, minsan hindi nakakonsentrate sa pagturo. Diba? Lalo na kung ang mga supervisor, mga PSDS, maraming pinapagawang projects. Meron ba kayo? Just focus on reading and numeracy. Kasi ito ang importante. The functional literacy rate of Bicol is very low, 63%. We are one of the lowest regions having low functional literacy rate. Meaning to say, only 63 for every 100 person can functionally read write, and understand what they read. Ang iyan ang ibig sabihin. Meaning we have a big number of population, 37% na talagang walang alam. Hindi marunong bumasa o nakabasa man, hindi naiintindihan ang kanilang binabasa. My dear friends, sa kunting panahon natin, kasi alam ko malapit din kayong mag-retire na ang iba sa inyo, do something that will help our children na sila ay makabasa, maintindihan ang binabasa. Hindi pa nga tayo nagbibigay ng marami ng assessment sa mathematics, pero mas malala ang math. Ito po ay isang appeal sa inyong lahat because wala namang kami sa field. Kayo ang malapit sa mga schools. Kayo ang malapit sa mga teachers. Ang term ko dyan ay assist our teachers. Tulungan para sila ay makatutok sa pag-aaral, ay sa pagtuturo. Ganito kasi ang nakikita ko. We have a data on the CRLA. Magturugaan kita. Pag June, kadakol kitang non-readers. Pag March, nagbawas si non-readers. Pagbalik ning June, nagdagdag na naman si non-readers. Ano ba talaga? Tapuson ta na ang arog kaining practice. If at the end of the school year dai talaga nakakabasa, i-declare na dai nakakabasa. Dai naman baga pigagamit ang number of non-readers, promotion kang mga aki sa pag-promote sa Indo o sa mga teachers. Dai man pighahali, pig-terminate ang teacher kung talagang grabe ang non-readers. Ang gusto tang mahiling, totoong data. Kung pagpuon talagang dakul ang non-readers, as in pagtapos, dakul pa ang non-readers, i-report. Di ba? Kung pagpuon, dahil nagtutukdo sa teacher, pagtapos dahil nagtukdo, di okay yan. Mahagad pa siya ng PBB. Oh. Kasi ang nangyayari ngo niyan, have you observed? I've been in the service for 37 years. Lagi na tayong nag-aabang, anong makukuha ko? Ano ang benefits ko? Hindi na natin nakikita ano ang magagawa ko sa mga batang ito na hindi marunong bumasa. It's more on personal. What personal gains will I get in teaching? Kaya pakiulay. There is nothing wrong if we will assist our teachers and to be truthful. Magpakatotoo. Yan ang dapat nating ano. And huwag niyong pagalitan kung talagang maraming non-readers. Hindi kasi maganda. Halimbawa, ngayong taon, ang grade 2, maraming non-readers. Pag end of March, halimbawa, 100 ang non-readers. Pag end of March, 10 na sana ang non-readers. Ano ta kang mag-assess sa pag mag-grade 3 sinda, ang non-readers kaining grupong ini, tuminaas pa. Gustong sabihon, after 2 months, nagkaroon ng halangkaw na pigaapod tang summer, anong tawag yun? Summer slide? Garo makaduda. Di ba? Na pag sa summer, igwa kita ang pigaapod na ano pa to? Summer enhancement, kung ano-ano. Ano ta, pag-assessment, dakul pa rin ang non-readers. So that means, bakung totoo ang report. Honestly, nakakahiya pag laging binabatikos kitang DepEd. Garo ko magsurulok sa irarom kan lamisa pag nagsabing, kadakol ngayang non-readers sa DepEd, sa eskwelahan, public schools. Tapos mahiling mo sa Facebook, hainaan sa muyang PBB. Hainaan sa muyang SRI. Jesus Maria Yusef. Di ba? Makasupog. Okay? So, pakiulay po yan. If you can help them. Yaong kamo sa posisyon tumabang. So, I will no longer prolong your agony in listening to me because I hope also another activity to attend to. Ang pakiulay ko po, ngunya na panahon na kaipuhan ang tabang kang mga maestra. Help them. Control your anger. Yan ang dapat nating gibuhon. Dahil kita magparaanggot na. Ako pigsabi ko sa Indo dati, akong sad-sad talaga. Yeah, kasakamsur talagang tarakot sa ko maestra. Pero, I changed. I mellowed. Dahil naintindihan ko na. I was very idealistic during that time. Haputon nindo ang mga taga-Baaw. Tas namamakol ako ning eskwela. Ang mga maestra, dahil ko pigpalaog. Ang mata kong salita ni nadarakula. Lalo na pag late, di ba? Ganun ako noon. Because in my mind, in my heart, I want our children na makanood. Kaya ako ang principal na pig-require ko ang mga maestra na magpa-eskwela sa eskwelahan na yan. Because when I came to that school, all of the teachers, most of the teachers, nasa private school ang mga aki. I told them, sino ang matubod sa tuya? Nakamungani dahil nagtutubod digdi sa eskwelahan because your children were in the private schools. May problema pa kamo, nag-uurutang pa kamo, tama tuition. Nganin dahil kamo mag-utang, pa-eskwelahon sa eskwelahan na ini. And they followed. Kasi unang-unang maniniwala sa eskwelahan na yan, kamong mga taga dyan. You cannot convince other people to enroll their kids in that school kung ang aki mo nga ni mayo dyan. I became a principal in Partido area also. I sent my daughter in the school. Kasi principal ako, dumangka. To show to them that I also, para makita nila na talagang ika mismo naniniwala sa edukasyon ang eskwelahan na yan. Okay? So, I don't know kung nag-ibon nindo yan. Basta ang aram ko, that was done by Sad-Sad. During my heyday, sabi nga ni Matt Monroe, in my heyday, teachers were afraid of me, including students. Tararara. No. I'm just sharing. Hindi ako santo nung panahon. Ngayon na ako nagsanto. Kasi galing ako sa medyo hindi santo. Di ba ang maganda ang pabago kaysa dati kang santo, nagi kang demonyo? That is because there was change in me, a lot of change because of the children, because of the teachers. Okay? So yan din ang gawin ninyo. Tama na yung mga pagalit-galit na yan. Those were the old schools. Nandito na tayo sa 21st century. Kailangan lagi kang nakasmile para humaba ang buhay. Anyway, thank you very much. A lot of good things that I shared. Maraming salamat.
Okay, so once again, thank you so much, Dr. Gilbert T. Sadsad, CESO 3, the Regional Director of DepEd Region 5. Isa pong masigabong palakpakan ulit para kay Director. Now, we will be awarding this plaque of recognition to our speaker, to Dr. Gilbert T. Sadsad. May I request the BOT of the PSDSA to please join us here as we award the plaque of recognition to our regional director. So let me read the content of the plaque. Department of Education, Region 5, Public Schools District Supervisors Association. Plaque of recognition is awarded to Dr. Gilbert T. Sadsad, CESO 3, DepEd Regional Director, for generously sharing his knowledge and expertise as keynote speaker, research speaker during the 2nd Regional Research Congress of PSDSA Bicol Region, given this 27th day of November 2025 at Bella Hotel, Legazpi City, Philippines. Signed, Dr. Cyril R. Salazar, President, PSDSA Region 5. Sir, please receive our plaque for you. And we will also have a short photo op with our regional director. And at this time, we'll have the photo opportunity by division. So first on the list, may we May I request everyone to please rise for a photo opportunity. Then after the group photo, we'll have a photo op by division. Ready? Smile. 1, 2, 3, and go. High five. Then we'll have by region. Okay. Okay. Sige. Since may pupuntahan pa si Dr. Sadsad, so we could have the photo opportunity by region with him by tomorrow during the closing program. So we need to have a photo op with our regional director because that will be included in the final edit of the video, of the hymn, of the PSDSA hymn. Okay, so maybe in the afternoon, sa babalik, promise po yan, promise ni Sir Gilbert, Doc Sadsad, that he will be back for that photo opportunity kasi kailangan natin for the final edit of the video ng ating hymn. Okay, so before we have the second topic today, so we'll have a break, a CR break. Sige, yung ating pwede po tayo mag-retouch muna, mag-lipstick, magkilay for 10 minutes. Okay? So we will see each other after 10 minutes. Yan. So, siguro nakapag-retouch na tayo. Nakapag-retouch na tayo. Naka-lipstick na. Nakakilay na. Naka-powder. So, we are about to start the second session. The second topic for our second day of the Regional Research Congress. Okay, so are we ready to start? Okay, could you please show me your thumb if ready? Ready na ba? Okay, hindi pa ang iba ready. Okay, anyway, so magkakaroon muna tayo ng energizer bago tayo. Okay, everybody. Okay, so mag-energizer muna tayo. Okay, so simple lang ang gagawin. Hello, are you with me? Hep, hep! Hep, hep! Yan, talagang energized na sila. Okay, ito lang ang gagawin natin. So, this is just the instruction. Simple lang, di ba, sabi ni Doc, kailangan natin galaw-galawin ang ating mga katawan, di ba, para magkaroon tayo ng mahabang buhay. Okay, so if I say, kapag ngayon, ang sasabihin ko lang, I will just give you an instruction. If I say walk, maglalakad tayo. Okay, you walk, walk, walk. Then, if I say stop, you stop. Okay? Now, if I say jump, you jump. Okay, jump. And if I say clap, you clap. Then, if I say dance, you dance. Okay. So ngayon, may judges tayo na pipili ng pinakamagaling sumayaw. And there will be special gift for that napakagaling sumayaw ngayon. Okay, so generous si Sir Don. Ewan ko kung anong ibibigay niya. Okay, everybody please rise. Tayo po tayo para ma-energize tayo bago nating tawagin ang ating second speaker. Everybody please rise. Tayo po tayo. Okay, para stretch natin ang katawan. Okay, so abutin natin ang langit. Sige, abutin natin ang langit. Sige, abutin. Everybody please rise. Ang hindi tumayo, bibigyan ng wheelchair. Sige. Okay, sige, abutin natin ang langit. Then, abutin ng lupa. Yan, sige. Sige, sige. Okay. Then, hampasin ang nasa gilid. Okay. So, the instruction, if I say walk, walk tayo. So, alis kayo dyan sa ano nyo, sana maka-meet kayo ng ibang supervisors. Okay, everybody, walk! Walk, walk, walk. Yan, sige, lakad kayo, hindi stationary walk. Walk, 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 walk. Everybody, please walk, 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 walk. Clap, clap, clap. Walk, 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 walk. Everybody, please walk. No, ganito lang. Listen, if I say walk, you walk. If I say clap, you clap. If I say jump, you jump. If I say dance, you dance. Okay. Sige. 1, 2, 3, go. Clap! No. Pag one clap lang. Okay? Clap. 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 Jump. Jump. Clap. Clap. Jump. Jump, 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 clap, 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 walk, 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 walk. Everybody please walk, 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 jump, 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 walk, 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 then clap, clap, jump, then dance, dance. Dance, everybody please dance. Move your body, please dance. Yan. Stop. Walk. Walk, 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 then dance. Everybody, stop. 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 Then sit down. Yeah. Okay, na-energize na tayo, ano? So, I think we're now ready to listen to the next topic. And to introduce our speaker, please welcome the Vice President of the PSDSA Region 5, Dr. Selvino B. Doctolero Jr.
Good morning. It is with great pleasure to introduce our esteemed speaker for this session, Dr. Nelson S. Morales Jr., CESO 5, the school's division superintendent of STO Masbate City. Sir Nel, as we fondly call him, brings a wealth of knowledge and expertise in management, supervision, and research as he guided initiatives that strengthen academic and organizational excellence, especially to the STOs he is assigned. His commitment to transparent and excellent leadership is exemplified by his completion of a diploma in Public Management Development Program at the Development Academy of the Philippines. Our session focuses on collaboration and teamwork in our respective workplaces under the theme Leveraging Synergy, Enhancing Collaboration Among PSDSS, EPSS, and Private Schools for Effective Educational Leadership. This insightful, timely, and significant topic will be presented to us by Dr. Morales. Friends, let us warmly welcome Dr. Nelson S. Morales Jr.
Morning. Isang magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Sabi ni RD to, no? Sabi ni RD kanina, pagkaharap mo daw ang mga supervisors, talagang nakakatakot. From the words of the director this morning, totoo ba yun? Parang hindi. I happen to be a supervisor also in the past. Pero I do not know if the same feeling were felt by our people. Or probably it is somewhat a matter of perspective. Whatever is the case, my dear friends. Another thing that I was able to capture this morning from the talk of our regional director is the fact that there is this career progression side by side with the promotion of our teachers and personnel. Ang aking tinitingnan, sana, and I joined the regional director in saying that sa bawat pag-angat ng ating mga kaguruan, ay sana may kaakibat na pag-angat doon sa ating mga kabataan. And let us not forget, my dear friends, that they are the reasons why we are in this department. They are the centerpiece of our initiative in relation to what we would like to achieve in the future. I may not be able to equal the handsomeness of our regional director, nor the handsomeness of our assistant regional director, because as I was informed, and also the same thought with our regional director, I am also a substitute to our assistant regional director. But don't you worry, my dear friends, and I hope and pray that I will be able to give justice to the two personalities, the regional director and of course the assistant regional director in the person of Sir Beb Santillas. And my gratitude also at this early is being extended to the association, special mention to our president, Ma'am Cyril Salazar, and so with the rest of the officers who are here, for considering this humble representation to be part of this particular endeavor of yours. In many occasions, and in many discussions, I keep on fighting for the cause of the public schools district supervisor. Let me give you one fact. If not because of this association, probably you were not able to bring and brought with you the level of salary grade being enjoyed by our education program supervisor. And up to this date, this is the association that is live, that has a voice in many gathering. And I join you in that particular cause. A while ago, I was with Ma'am Joanne Lagata, and she made mention about one thing. Is there also an association, National Association for Education Program Supervisors? I told her that there is, because I happened to attend one national activity at General Santos City, a gathering also of education program supervisors. But what is so unique in the public schools district supervisor is the fact, and it doesn't change up to now, that if you try to read RA 9155, which is part of the governing laws that we have in relation to our function, you will be able to realize that the office of the public schools district supervisor was never removed in the picture. Probably you will agree with me. Though on matters of assignment, you belong, of course, because majority of your task belongs to the CID, which is curriculum implementation. But if you happen to browse 9155, there is that office, the office of the public schools district supervisor, that is supposed to be in existence, with staff and all others as you will be needing in order to support the educational pursuit of every learner. And I congratulate you for that, because you fought for it many years ago. And don't you know, my dear friends, let me just tell you a matter of history. In the past, for those whose age is comparable to mine, in the past, the salary grade of public schools district supervisor is the same with the salary grade of principal 2. Tama o mali? True. Salary grade 19. And here is a district supervisor performing multi-functions who is now comparable in relation to salary to a principal 2. But you were given justice as a result of many talks, and it was listened to. And therefore, your salary grade this time was raised to salary grade 22. In an informal conversation with Ma'am Cyril, she made mention with our director that there is the clamor of raising it to salary grade 23. I join you in that simply because of that office and the multi-ability and function that you continue to manifest. And that is something, my dear friends. In a provincial division, you will know the difference between the city division. In a provincial division, you will be made to handle or take care of so many schools ranging from 16, 20 to 25. Some are even having 35. In the city schools, they are made to handle 3 schools, 4 schools, or 5, or even 6 against this number that we have. But try to consider this particular pivotal position of the PSDS. Of course, we can only be very effective if all the systems are working and if we recognize that office, because the public schools district supervisor is our focal point in relation to, or point person in relation to, certain geographical area or conglomeration, of course, of some of our schools. And that is very true, my dear friends. And therefore, my dear friends, let me proceed to the topic given to me by the association, specifically speaking, leveraging synergy, enhancing collaboration among PSDSS, EPSS, and of course, the private schools for effective educational leadership. On the key term, my dear friends, you will be able to realize that there are 2 important aspects to consider, of course, along this discussion. One of which is synergy, and the other is educational leadership. We all understand what is that synergy that blends us together towards certain goal. And therefore, we will not be able to do anything if we will be on our own, separate from each other, that is why we need to provide leadership in your geographical assignment. And that case, my dear friends, where the public schools district supervisor will come in. As to how are you going to unite your people towards this educational pursuit, of course, it should happen not necessarily through a magical wand, but of course, it is understood that something better will continue to happen every day. For obvious reason, the children are the reasons of our being. Without them, there will be no progressive country that we continue to envision. In fact, during the time of pandemic, if you happen to remember, our former secretary made mention, education must continue because of its potential effect not only to the country but to humanity as well. We cannot afford to stop. We cannot afford not to provide educational leadership simply because there is a noble purpose that we have to attend. And it is not simply because of the performance of mandate. It formed part of our legacy to humanity. As mentioned by our regional director a while ago, according to him, what can we offer to these children of the children of their children as well? What can we offer as a person, not only to the current generation, but to the generations to come? If we are all to live as a matter of separation from the service, through retirement, as a matter of consideration, what is that legacy that we can be remembered whenever we are gone? But there is one thing, my dear friends, that I would like you to take note. At some point in time, these children whom we dedicate our effort will continue to manifest our faces. In the same manner that the reflection of our leadership will always be seen on the kind of perspective that our school heads are showing. Whether they drive that force towards something or they are just contented with what they have as a matter of mandate. Of course, my dear friends, even in creation, there was this thing, very important to remember. Man cannot live by bread alone. And we don't live by bread alone. Something higher should happen. Something better must be achieved. Kaya ako ng clicker, nasaan na kaya? Okay, let me proceed with the first slide. What am I going to? Okay. Do you see something out of the first slide? Do you see something? Try to open your eyes. If your eyes will not be able to see the first slide, I would like you to, may I invite you to open your heart. Do you see something now? What is that something that you're seeing out of the first slide? Of course, this is not a recitation because I am very generous in giving grades. On the first day of class, during my incumbency as a public school teacher, I told them, all of you will be able to get 100% in your respective cards. It is just a matter of subtraction later on. Of course, let's proceed to the first slide. When you assume office in your new position, that's the picture, my dear friends. True or false again? Very true. Because when you were a principal, it is totally different rather, to be a public schools district supervisor. You practically do not know what to do and where to start on the first day of your assumption to duty. Later on, you're able to provide something out of that blank well on the basis of your personal belief and of course the consideration shared to you by your mentors. In other words, my dear friends, somehow at some point of our life, we are facing that. But let me ask another question. How were you able to recover from that blank wall or blank picture the moment you assume office? Of course, you continue to gather information. You ask people, how is it to be? But the question is, it is really the kind of expectation when we were entrusted with that kind of trust by the appointing official. Is it really the same expectation if you ask a school children who is innocent and so pure, what are you going to do to my future as a person, as a learner, having dreams not only for myself, but for my family as well? How are you now going to define and provide justice to the sacrifices of their parents, if that is the situation? In the same manner, my dear friends, that while it is true that that is the case, we were able to navigate well until such time that we are now confident to act and guarantee the Filipino people and the whole world that through me, through you, through all of us, something will happen. Something will not only happen as it is, but there is something that is more ambitious than before. I would like to share with you, my dear friends, where we are now is a product of care and love. If you try to visualize a big tree that continue to provide that shade for the over that sunlight, of course you will not only see the tree, you will thought of something. And what is that? Somehow, in the past, or many years ago, somebody or someone have thought of our future, have thought of our comfort. That is why we are here. The same kind of reflection, my dear friends, is being seen by all of us as a result of all of this. Plans for intervention, and of course, things that could happen better. So if I am a newly assumed public schools district supervisor, I will think of my purpose. And that is why what is good in the Department of Education this time is we have one vision and mission. In other words, we share in the same dreams, in the same aspirations for each and every one. Unlike before, where every school is trying to craft its own mission and vision. To some extent, during our rounds, we're able to see double vision. Yes, my dear friends. Double vision. Ano kaya ang double vision na to? Ang double vision pala, dalawang S. Kaya, double vision na siya. So, they now have this double vision. And at some point, targets are moving from time to time. Towards the end, you will not be able to visualize if it is the same thing that you envisioned long time ago. We're saying also that in doing such, we must be together. Yes, my contribution, her contribution, and his contribution might be better, might be very good. But the point is it hitting really the medium-term development plan as crafted by the current leadership? In the same manner, that while it is true that we have this expanded career progression, Is it really hitting the heart of every learner in relation to academic achievement? My dear friends, it is an opportunity for reflection. This is where we are as a sector, as an institution, as a result, of course, of the study made by EDCOM. Of the many things that we did, of the many things that we are currently doing, according to them and according to study, there was this miseducation, and therefore the picture or the Mona Lisa that we're trying to see before may no longer be the same, because it did not respond to the current situation. Therefore, even if we pursue a lot, even if we made such kind of effort, in the end, they are not really getting what is expected of us to be provided to them. That is why in the global scenario, you will be able to note that many of our kababayans were not actually accepted on a comparable education qualification abroad. It is not because that they don't have that trust. It is probably because they were not able to acquire the basic skills necessary for them to be as confident as their people. Although we are saying that we still have the best human resource on earth, Filipinos. But that is the study made by EDCOM. There was miseducation, which is really a page for reflection for all of us as public schools district supervisor. Because we are all leaders. And therefore, that in itself forms part of our scorecard. And if we are going to show to the public our report card, that is our report card. At some point in time, my dear friends, despite the capability building, despite the high qualification standard, despite all the efforts, according to EDCOM, what happened is there was miseducation on our part. The second question is this: are we still relevant in the things that we are doing, in the position that we're holding, in the mind frame that we continue to entertain? Are we still that relevant? Of course, that's your answer. I will not question individual opinion. But that is, my dear friends, our scorecard. On the first round, when we were assessed, that's the report card. Now, probably you will ask me, is that real? Is that true? Yes. Although we may be doing a lot of things, probably we fall short of certain standards. Or probably we're not on the same page, and that's the reason why, despite many things, according to our legislators, even as mentioned by our regional director, that's their finding. Question again, did we contribute to that? The answer, of course, is yes. We all are guilty of what happened. But we don't point any finger to anybody else. We're saying that this is a situation that we need to embrace and do something. Yes. On the second round, on year 2, in as much as it is already happening, and we can no longer change history or turn back the hands of time, therefore we have to admit that we have to fix it. And the only way to recover is to start from the beginning, from the very root of the situation. And that is starting, of course, from kindergarten, making them ready in grade 1, and proceed on key stage 1. If we will be able to have that, we will no longer entertain the low literacy rate as well as numeracy rate. Because the foundation is very strong and it will not be collapsed by time. That is real. And who are the major players again? The public schools district supervisor. Because in a certain geographical area, we are in charge. You have the secondary, you also have the private schools, as provided for in 9155. You still have the elementary with you. And don't you know, my dear friends, that according to reports, our graduates are not actually ready for the promises that we offer in the K-12 during the time of its introduction. And if they are not yet ready, therefore, that is true. Excuse me for my voice. Ma'am Joanne is a good friend of mine. She happens to be from Ligao. And I was assigned in Ligao. And many of them, my stories probably were heard by them during my incumbency. And so with the people of Masbate, the people of Legazpi are a little bit shy. That's why they opted to sit the bench. But whatever is the case, my dear friends, sometimes really, we hold our back in trying to accept the reality. Yes, that is a reality. So we all agree, not only us, that all those things are supposed to happen. All those things are supposed to happen. Let us start fixing the foundation, no longer blaming each other for that particular grade that we got. So we have to start. Now, if you are going to start, your heart must be into it. It requires a lot of passion. It requires a lot of commitment on the part of the person in acceptance that all of us will pass this way but once. But what is that something that we should be remembered? What is that something that we can contribute if we are to say that by tomorrow we're done? Because nothing in this world is permanent. And we will all go, not necessarily at the same time, but there is something that you can be remembered about. And I hope that that day, our grandchildren will tell us, or we will be able to hear from them, even if we are on another dimension, we will be able to hear from them that sense of pride that one day they will be able to say, my lolo, my lola happened to be the district supervisor of this particular geographical area and was able to introduce these many things. That is why I am here. And that is the reason, again, why we have to start and build from what we have now. So we have to start doing something by fixing the foundation. A while ago, our regional director mentioned that the same issue is being repeated from time to time. The same thing is being faced by us. Low literacy rate, low performance in international and national examination, but you need not to go somewhere else. You attend a class, you try to conduct assessment, very quick assessment. Probably you can tell if on the comprehension checkup, you will be able to see that the children can answer with confidence on a certain material that you are going to introduce. You can tell that. And you can also tell if indeed, by heart and by deed, you can proudly say that you have done something. Yes, alam natin yan. Di ba? Kahit sa exam, alam natin kung papasa tayo o hindi. The moment we drop the pencil, we know if we are going to pass or fail. We all know that. my dear friends. That is true. And so, that's the result. That somehow disturbs us in the process. Because whenever there are discussions, we're saying, who is the in charge of this district? We are being compared by mere presentation of data. Whether we admit it or not, by mere presentation, comparison exists. Yes. And where is your district? And that is, my dear friends, according to them, an alarming score because only a quarter of our learners were able to reach that level of proficiency. If it is a quarter, you only have 25%. Of 100 learners, only 25 can confidently say that they can respond well to a certain material. But that is even better because before, the data is very much different. What is that? For every 10, only 1 is assumed to be proficient. 0.009, which is not even 1. But of course, there's no half person. It's still 1. But in as much as it is 0.001, I am on the assumption that such individual is not as confident, is not as proficient as we're thinking. Because that is the case. A quarter. Now you try to reflect on individual data. Is it really true in your respective districts? Or at this point in time, can you tell really what is that level of academic achievement? Because that is a social contract. When our learners, through their parents, enrolled their children in our institutions of learning, there was this social trust. Again, that somehow their aspirations will come into reality. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a teacher. Continuously articulated by our kindergarten teachers. The question again is how? Even if we entertain that data, if only a quarter are proficient, we can again say that what will happen to the 75%? Are we contented with a quarter achievement? Probably not. Because if we happen to belong to that 75% or 3/4 of our learners, then what fate can we somehow see in the future? Ano kayang swerte ang darating sa atin? Diba? And there is something also that I would like you to consider. In the past, we were compared domestically. Yes, your school will only be compared to another school in the district or in the municipality. But no longer this time, my dear friends. The world is becoming smaller and smaller every day, flatter and flatter every day. That is why our results is being compared to the people of Singapore, to the people of Finland, to the people of Asia. And what's that difference, probably? Are we saying that we cannot compete with them? Or if pandemic is a great excuse, were they not hit by pandemic? The answer is, of course, we are on the same boat. They were also hit. They form part of the victims, and of course, they experienced the challenges along the way. And therefore, such excuse is not as meritorious as we're thinking. Or is it really proper to believe that prior to pandemic, it is already happening? Maybe you can agree with me that even prior to pandemic, there was this pandemic of life in the lives of the school children. That's why we were able to hit that one. The 25%. My question is this. What will you feel if it happens to be your only child? How will you feel if it happens to be your only daughter, your only son? He belonging to the 75%. And you want him to be a doctor one day. You want him to be an engineer someday. Is that promise? Is that hope? Will he still continue to hold water along the way? Probably not. Yes. Again, there will be a mismatch along the way. There is underemployment and underemployment. Then we contribute to the increasing poverty rate of the country. Yes. We grow in numbers, but not in quality. There is this competition, but we cannot. We cannot participate in the process of development because the degree of readiness is never guaranteed. Yes. That's the scenario, my dear friend. Of course, let's try to diagnose. Those are the learning gaps that we all know. And that's the reason why we have this kind of initiative. Unless you accept the thing, that's the beginning of your action. That is why, even during the time of Pope Francis, when he visited the Philippines, what was the battle cry? Or what was the words of the Pope that really mattered to us most? According to the Pope, there has to be mercy and compassion. It is not enough to express mercy over a certain individual or over a certain situation. There has to be compassion because compassion drives action. It is not enough to be on the shoe of another. It is not enough to empathize. What is being asked is, let's do something out of it. When Mother Teresa was invited in one of the many gatherings of the full UN Assembly, traveling from Golgotha to that UN Assembly, and they waited for Mother Teresa then to speak of many things. Then she was introduced before a crowd on a full session. Then Mother Teresa spoke. Of course, I was not there. Just to clarify, I was not there. According to the audience and reports, Mother Teresa only spoke of one thing, only spoke of certain things. The world is hungry of love. The world is thirsty rather of love. Unless you give your heart into what we are currently doing on the basis of our promise, then something will change. It is not the growth in terms of position. It is not the growth economically, but we would like to grow on the way we appreciate things guided by our heart. We will all be gone. That's the reality. Of course, I will no longer dwell on that. Let's proceed to our function. On the current setup, the Public Schools District Supervisor belongs to the Curriculum Implementation Division. But there are two groups. The first group is in reference to the Education Program Supervisor, and the second group, the group where you belong, the Public Schools District Supervisor. Sometimes, as we continue to perform our function, we keep on asking, what is it that I am going to contribute? What is it that I am going to do now that we belong to the same family? Let us set the demarcation line between the two. The education program supervisors are, of course, specialists, and the public schools district supervisors are more of a generalist. Because you manage certain geographical area with all the considerations in the different learning areas. Now, what will now be the role of the public schools district supervisor? Very clear and many documents that will define the thin line of engagement between the two. But you can easily say that we don't have that mastery of a certain subject matter. Do we have our own majors when we were in the collegiate level as part of our educational preparation? But of course, we cannot deny the fact that many tasks are being given to us. And it appears again that we are expected to be a master of everything when we really cannot do about the situation. I keep on saying that you cannot squeeze water out of a dry towel. It is really impossible. If you are not an English major, it will be very hard for you to observe an English class. So as mine. Because my special interest is not English, of course, but my special interest is mental retardation. Yes. That's my special interest. Now, if you allow me to observe a class in mathematics, then I may be handicapped at some point. But let me give you the wisdom of our former superintendent when I was designated as education program supervisor for certain learning area. I really argued to her, Madam, I am not an expert of this particular learning area. Therefore, I may not be able to provide justice to my designation, which is true. Which is true. Our schools division superintendent told me, then I am not supposed to be here. Yes. That, my dear friend, should not be used as an excuse simply because you don't have an expertise of the matter. Take note that you have a community with you. The education program supervisor, a brother or a sister to you, and here you are organizing things, coming up with something that you would like to have. Going back to the story or conversation between my boss and your humble representation, my humble representation, I reflected a lot. So, someone is not expected to be an expert of everything. In the same manner that the public schools district supervisor may not be an expert of everything. It only requires degree of commitment, higher degree of passion, and of course the perseverance to do something. Nowadays, you need not to do everything. In the modern world, there is such thing as outsourcing. There is such thing as networking. We are not all engineers here. But why is it that you're able to construct your beautiful houses? Because you partnered with an individual whose expertise is needed in order for you to accomplish something. And therefore, by doing so, that's the beginning of what we have now. Try to see the role of the education program supervisor. Almost similar. The only difference is they are subject specialists. And we all know that if you bring an individual, a patient for that matter, in a hospital setting, to a specialist, that person will even be cared properly compared to a general practitioner. The only thing that you did is to have that kind of mental setting that if I cannot do it, there has to be someone. So you partner with the person. So after the diagnosis, you will be able to realize that if they are poor in mathematics, then there is an expert that I can refer to. If the children are poor or not doing so well in English, therefore I can always stop the English supervisor. But realistically speaking, given such duties, you will be able to realize that if there are 8 learning areas, hypothetically, there are 8 concerns which you don't have expertise of all of those, you will be able to see yourself as a program implementer in relation to the program being introduced by the specialist. Right? So you followed it up. If you are going to follow it up, and there are 8 education program supervisors, all of these things will be looked into by the public schools district supervisors on top of other mandates. So, whenever there is a scorecard, your district happen to be not performing in a particular learning area, what is it that you have done along the way? It is just a matter of partnership. It is just a matter of creating a whole community of people to work for certain goal. That is why we keep on entertaining the idea as an elementary rule that it requires a whole village to educate a child. You cannot do it alone. It takes that whole village to raise a person because we have our gifts different from each other. And that is something to reflect on. My gift is different from the gifts of Ma'am Joanne and the rest. And therefore, by recognizing such, we will all understand the beauty of creation and collaboration. Even if we observe our physical body, you will be able to see that there is always a complementary, there's always something that complements each other. Let us start with our arm. You have the right, you have the left. Eyes, you still have the left, you still have the right. Practically everything is complemented. Now, from that moment, my dear friends, let us all realize, taking off from that statement that my gift is different from yours, and so with your gifts. Therefore, I cannot do it all. That is a humble admission that you also needed help. By doing so, that's the beginning of a more beautiful visioning and weaving of the dreams and aspiration of our children. Currently, I included in the discussion the issues and concerns so that we will be able to identify some of the entry points for discussion and collaboration. I believe that one of the issues were not included, one of which is the discrepancy in the assignment of public schools district supervisor. As mentioned earlier, if you are in a provincial division, you handle more schools compared to a city school. You navigate almost a municipality compared to a provincial division. Let me cite a challenging geographical location, not because of my personal bias, not because that I am an overseas Filipino worker. The province of Masbate. For the province of Masbate, I believe they are here. If you are assigned as an education supervisor in the province of Masbate, you are to consider 3 islands. The island of Masbate, which is the main island, the island of Dicao, and the island of Burias. Did I get it perfectly? Yes. Thank you for allowing me to get the perfect score. In my more than 2 years of stay, and I believe I'll be able to graduate by April 3, which they all wish. Which they all wish. My dear friends, If you happen to be a public schools district an education program supervisor in the province of Masbate, and even if I include Camarines Sur as an extra large division, you will be dealing with how many schools in the division of Camarines Sur? More than 1,000, right? And more than 500 for the division of Masbate. We only have 180 days, mathematically speaking, to 185 days. Even if we include Saturday and Sunday, 365 and 1/4 day, if it's a leap year, you will not be able to cover all the schools. Yes, it requires a lot of effort on your part, and probably by the time that you will be retiring, still in the end, you will be saying, I was not able to cover all the schools in Camarines Sur as well as in the province of Masbate. True. So, where is now the entry point of partnership? It is now entrusted to the public schools district supervisor. Originally, we have the master plan of action translated in our DEDP, of course patterned from the RDEP of the region. So all of those were guided by the master plan. Individually, we may be doing a different thing, but we're hitting the same purpose. But try to see the 60,000, I do not know if that is right, the 60,000 or 500,000 learners in Bicol. And we're saying that at some point in time, we can be with them. That's impossible, my dear friends. So what are we using? The Pareto principle. 20% effort, 80% impact. That's what we would like to do. So we do leveraging, not only in relation to the number, in relation to the members, but in relation also to the database system, such as the technology. And that's the reason why we are here. Did you know that the other day, that was yesterday, I attended a master plan on infrastructure. According to Undersecretary Willie, they will be able to see the farthest school in the country with all the demographics. And that is a very good solution. Leveraging through technology, and of course, leveraging in terms of our degree of dedication. Because we continue to look for something that will make us better and better, day after day. So these are some of the issues as presented during that particular forum. According to them, according to the researcher, there was limited stakeholder participation in planning and policy execution. Therefore, if that is the case, my dear friends, the idea that it requires a whole village to educate a child may not be 100% because of the limited participation. And of course, another thing, we belong to different generations. True or false again? Yes. Our new teachers are now technologically confident, savvy, as others are saying, technologically can navigate everything. Because it is not a question of information dissemination, for it is within our fingertips. And therefore, number 2, as an issue, is very important. Continuously, we should upgrade ourselves. Because it is a mandate. And now let me bring you to the promise or to the oath that we have articulated and recited before the people of the Philippines and of course to the Lord. And what is that oath? On the part of a public official, and I quote, "Sisikapin kong madagdagan ang aking talino at kakayahan upang ang antas ng paglilingkod sa bayan o on the condition ay patuloy na maitaas. Therefore, if you are a holder of an appointment, it doesn't necessarily mean that you stop. There is rather that great responsibility on your part to be updated, to be recalibrated, to be trained, and to make sure that you are at pace with our clients. Otherwise, our learners and us may have this degree of comparison. While it is true that we're still on the moon, they are already telling us about Jupiter. Very far, my dear friends. So these are also issues. Conflict skills remain critical. And of course, underscoring the need for supervisors to develop this particular skill, strong conflict resolution skill. Maybe you will ask me again, why? Because you're handling people. And of course, the fact that each and every person is unique and therefore different from each other. So it is expected that at some point in time, you vary in terms of perspective. At some point in time, conflict will ignite. And that's the challenge of leadership. You eliminate those conflicts, you minimize, and let them stay focused on the objective. Because cooperation is necessary. The Department of Education is like an elephant. So big, so huge, that if you try to teach an elephant how to dance, it will be very difficult with that movement, right? Even when we entertain expanded career progression, reclassification of teachers, it was a Herculean task on our part. Why? Because we're faced with deadlines. And the clients of today are no longer the same as before. We have entered the era of instant. The moment they face us, they are expecting you to provide results. On that very moment. Instant. So, all of those things are to be considered as a matter of issue. You just read it because it is provided for on the basis of the study. Of course, we juggle in terms of continuous improvement projects. As mentioned a while ago, if there are 8 learning area supervisors, and each of them will introduce intervention plan, it will be very hard for you to navigate that. And at the end of the day, here is your superintendent will be asking a popular question, what happened in your district? It will again be very hard for you to answer. Why is it that the performance of the learners, having this very limited number, are still lagging behind their counterparts? Geographically, they are not challenged. But why is it so? So you can tell a lot of stories just the same. But the reality remains the same. With the multi-functions, it requires a superman to do that. That's why I am congratulating all of you for being a superman and a Wonder Woman in the making. Yes. Because it requires that kind of character to pursue the many tasks being faced by us. Public schools district supervisor. Because if I happen to be an education program supervisor, all I need to do is to present the master plan, and I have it cascaded in all the schools that we have, and that, my dear friends, is just a setting of expectation at the end of the day. But the one who shall implement will face that great challenge. Yes. Easier said than done. It is very easy for us to articulate on concepts, on something that we are going to do. But if you are already in the battlefield of learning, it's totally different. You're filled by. You feel the inconveniences. You get out of the air-conditioned room. I remember one of the bishops did mention, for a person to be effective leader, he or she must feel, must smell, must act like the sheep that he or she shepherds. True. It is the frequency of being present. It is the frequency of being available at the doorsteps of our teachers. And be ready to provide that kind of technical assistance, popular technical assistance. That is staying, my dear friends, in a school for 15 minutes, for 5 minutes. Probably you will agree with me that it will not make a lot of difference. But the many teachers, 60,000 teachers of ours, in the Department of Education under Region 5, we have 3 groups of teachers. One, the pure breed teachers. I'm referring to the elementary teachers, major in Bachelor of Elementary Education. The second group are the hybrid teachers. The secondary school teacher, applied in elementary, was hard. Then you can expect them to be proficient in teaching beginning reading. That's a bit impossible, my dear friends. Then another group are allied professionals who have taken units in education without practice. Tama? We're allowed to take licensure examination comparable to a lesson in driving without a car. True or false again? True. Very, very true. Then that's the case. Assignment of teachers. Allied professional, hybrid teacher, meaning with another major, major in journalism or communication arts or whatever, assigned in grade 1 teaching mathematics as a result of team teaching. What can we expect? You all know the answer. Then let's proceed. These are the workloads that you have, broad responsibilities, and overlapping of challenges side by side with the many expectations. So this in itself prevented us or prevented you from doing your job with effectiveness and efficiency. Because of the many concerns, along the way, you lose focus. The intensity of something, the secret of which is focus. The force must be concentrated so that it will create that significant impact. But if the force is not concentrated, basically, my dear friends, it will just be a mere passing of air. It will be put away. It is just expression. It is just simply comparable to a motherhood statement that if I happen to be a teacher, I will do all of this and all of that and create that beautiful masterpiece of an effective school. It will never happen. Right? And so, all of those form part again of the many challenges. As an office, you are expected to deliver. As a head of office, you are expected to come up with significant outcomes. But we're being faced by this. According to some, as a matter of interview, how am I going to provide for that when I don't even have supplies? When I don't enjoy MOE, and this is being recognized as an office. The question again is how? How am I going to go to the battlefield of learning when, in truth and in fact, I don't have the ammunition to provide for it? Yes. And that is another challenge to many of us. That is why, in as much as it is a convention, or this is a convention, I would suggest or recommend for you to lobby for a special MOE in your respective districts. Your voice will be listened to if you will have that one voice over the thing. So, of the many things, of the many gatherings, have you thought of that? How can you be effective as a soldiers of learning without the necessary implements or ammunition or guns probably to fight for what we are trying to build? So if there is, then probably this particular issue might be minimized. As I've said, even if you go back to 9155, there is the office of the secretary. Next to that is the office of the regional director. From the level of the regional director is the office of the schools division superintendent. Next to that, which was not removed, is the office of the public schools district supervisor. You can always check that in the provision of law. Tama? Nandoon yan sa batas. And the next is the office of the school head. All of those that I mentioned are actually enjoying MOE except for one. Your office. Yes, your office. That's one that you could probably bring to a wider plenary so that your voice will be listened to. When you appealed for a higher salary grade, it was listened to. Then you carry with you the EPSS. You appealed for better salary grade from salary grade 19 to salary grade 20. It was granted. Now, another appeal is for salary grade 22 was granted also. I join you in your prayers for you to have salary grade 23. I join you in your prayers. I have a lot of people whom I'm going to pray. But be contented that I can pray for all. Huwag namang isa-isa. I can join you in that prayer. Okay? So these are part of the challenges, the data management and monitoring challenges. But let me highlight one. The sharing of digital dashboard. Sometimes, we're working as if we are alone. Many of the statistics or results are not known to many of you. That is why, when asked, what is the level of performance on this and that? We are taking the results from the national dashboard. Yes. Seldom that we can have that answer at our level. Therefore, if the dashboard will be shared between the EPS and the PSDSS, and of course the private school, we can always think of something. These are the things that I am going to do, customize my action, so that at least I'll be able to respond to this unique situation. Rather than performing a staff function, and as if your partner is only the one in authority to discuss. Yes, my dear friends. Therefore, there is a call for empowerment on your part. But of course, if you try to define what empowerment is, it speaks of an authority. But how can a person exercise authority if he or she doesn't have the skills or knowledge? Probably because there is that missing link that needed to be addressed. I am not saying that the office falls short of the expectation, but there is that structure that we need to set up along the way. Yes, my dear friends. Even for the creation of districts. Currently, we are entertaining two issues in the legitimization of schools districts because of the moratorium. When the rationalization was introduced to us under 366, for city division, medium division, they were accorded with 10 public schools district supervisors. But the creation of the districts fall part of those items included in the moratorium. So if that will be captured in given flash in the near future, then by common sense, in as much as we have items for public schools district supervisor, same creation should proceed. Same creation. So originally, some of the schools division offices are having 5, 3, or 2 districts. But with that creation, with the introduction of the rationalization program, and given 10 items for public schools district supervisor, by common sense and by logic, the office must have established 10 districts. So that it will be easier in terms of accountability as to who shall be, not necessarily responsible, who shall be the point person in a particular group of schools. Rather than having 3 in a particular district, it will be very difficult to account for personal and professional accountability. Mathematically speaking, you can always say that if you are 3, therefore 1/3 of which is yours. But where is that 1/3 in terms of accountability? Where is that claim of mine? So it's very difficult, my dear friends. So maybe that could be another issue that you can raise. Lift the moratorium on the creation and establishment of districts. Because even in Region 5, I believe that we only have 1 schools division having a separate issue. But for the rest of the division, the fact that they were provided the item, then let it be. But there are current talks about it. And therefore, the impact on decision making is being challenged. So this is also a diagram about such particular resistance in terms of change and collaboration. There is still the idea of turfing between an EPS and, of course, public schools district supervisor. Let me give you this scenario. Here is an EPS and here is a public schools district supervisor. In some cases, the public schools district supervisor were not made to observe a certain learning area and was not allowed to provide certain pronouncements simply because it is within the ambit of the education program supervisor. Which is not supposed to be the case, my dear friends. Because everything that exists in a certain geographical area form part of your accountability and responsibility. Yes. Sabi nila, yung mangga daw, nakaganyan, nakabend sa kapitbahay. Nandun pa naman yung bunga. Yung puno dito. May-ari daw, doon lang sa puno, pero wala sa bunga. My dear friends, that's not the illustration that I am trying to say. Everything that exists in a certain geographical area, you being the public schools district supervisor, form part of your accountability. You can always check on the basis of the law. 9155 is still very clear. Up to now. There is no such thing as yours and hers. So, in other words, these are areas that block us along the way. Because sometimes, no matter how good the idea is, we tend to resist because of an issue of turfing. This is my place. This is my area. This is my expertise. Which is not supposed to happen because from the beginning, there has to be complementation. In the modern parlance, we're saying there has to be collaboration and partnership. But of course, we're saying we all exist because of complementation. The point of view that your gift is different from mine, and so with others. Therefore, it is comparable to an angel with 1 wing, can only allowed to fly. Can only be allowed to fly if they embrace each other along the way. That's the time that even angels can be effective and efficient. Yes, my dear friends. Even angels are able. If you walk, if you do it on your own, it may be very slow. If you do it together, there is that magical voice that disturbs and beautiful scenario that invites, of course, people to listen to us. Yes, it is not a voice in the wilderness. It is like a voice in the orchestra that continue to vibrate in every person. Yes, my dear friends. So that's all of those are the gaps and the challenges post-pandemic scenario. That is where we are now. We can no longer use the pandemic simply because it is there, but that is the result of technological advancement. Sometimes many things are being hidden, but later on, as a result of technology, it is being exposed. And here we are now. So in the post-pandemic learning recovery, we all admit that there is learning gap from the pandemic because of the learning modality. But even up to now, we keep on resisting. And we keep on entertaining that face-to-face classes is still the best modality, according to us. But when we present our diploma to the Human Resource Personal Selection Board, an online course for that matter, we are claiming that this is legit and I benefited from that even if it is on the remote learning modality. Yes, my dear friends. And don't you know that even our college graduates during the pandemic were able to hurdle the board examination with a significant results. What does it mean? Probably there is a need for us to change also and invite new perspective. That is why in my personal note, I am saying that I can only do things on my period, on my time, but I will offer the solutions to the next generation because they may have better ideas, as proven by us. Why? The wireless communication is not our own creation. The teleconference system is not our creation. A product of the new generation. The very fast system is not our own creation. It is the product of the new generation. So why prevent them from exploring? We will be able to solve congestion in our respective classrooms. We will be able to solve probably the buildable space issue and still attain significant and remarkable academic achievement. But our generation may not have that degree of readiness to accept that. It is still the idea on clinging to face-to-face learning modality. But we all know that if it is a teleconferencing and you are allowed to submit report, whether it is face-to-face or not, you are going to submit. As a matter of example, my dear friends, very basic example. Come up with a learning recovery, remote instruction. You call your people, the same instruction. You come up with the learning recovery plan. The conditions never change. The output never change. And therefore, my dear friends, we need the key term for us to drive action in unison. Because as I've said, unless we concentrate that force, that's the only time that we will be able to create significant dent in the lives of our school children. As mentioned again by our regional director, there is a very strong temptation from time to time to introduce a lot of innovations that appear to be very good. But along the way, we're able to realize that no matter how good it may be, there is always the issue of implementation. No matter how good it may be. Sometimes, we're too eager to do it at the beginning, but fail to sustain such kind of initiative. Then in the end, we're saying that it is not workable, it is not something that we need to continue. But in the end, you should also be able to realize that you're not able to complete the whole process. That is why not all of the ingredients were provided. And of course, the expectations. Vis-a-vis the result is totally different. Of course, we all know the benefits of synergy. These are just very quick review. Increase innovation, adaptability, and resilience. Let me highlight the term resilience. Resilience means adapting to something that is even better than what you currently practice. It is not about just surviving. It is all about bouncing back better and better. Totally different from achieving significant results. Even in our SMART objectives, it's no longer attainable. We are now introducing the term because attainable is given, it should always be, or there should be an element of being ambitious. Because if it is just attainable, there is a very strong tendency again that we're just living up on the basis of the minimum. So when you set the target, it should be a bit ambitious. Ambitious because if you will be doing the same thing all at the same time and continuously repeating it again and again according to some, it will be a straight line towards the end. In the words of Albert Einstein, it is an invitation to lunacy. Because you keep on doing the same thing and you're expecting that something will happen. Something new will happen. Nothing new will happen. Admit it. Because it's the same thing. It's a routine. So you need to be a bit ambitious. In the same manner that when we considered all of those, then we're saying again that we need to adopt something better because the pandemic taught us a lot of things. And now, there is an issue of relevance in front of our kids. Are we still relevant? Especially on the part of our teachers. Going back to the classroom level, in the past we're saying to be an eye-to-eye contact for our children to learn. No longer this time, my dear friends. You go to Singapore, their eyes are somewhere else. They are facing different screens all at the same time. One is facing here, another is facing here, another is facing there. But don't you know the results of Singapore? If not consistently number one, they're always on the upper bracket. You were not able to maintain eye-to-eye contact. Hindi na uso yung titinginan sa mata. But they were able to benefit because their classroom is set up in such a way that wherever they go, wherever they glance their eyes, they'll be able to see what the teacher is talking about. That's one that we are saying in the country. That should not be because I would like you to be 100% present in my presence. But studies have shown us a totally different result. Yes. Of course, these are just examples of or strategies as to how are we going to collaborate. I already elucidated on that a while ago, that we start with a shared vision and everything so that at least we can move faster as an organization comparable to a big animal such as an elephant. We need to have a single focus so that anything that you do in Bicol will also have that impact in the rest of the objectives as provided for the medium-term development plan of the President. There has to be something that we can associate with as a result of the many efforts that we continue to do. Of course, this is just a kind of leader. May I request the group to, the technical people to play the video. Just a matter of reflection, very quick reflection, my dear friends. May skip. Anyway, let me take off from that. You will be able to realize that while it is true that they are there, we're able to see the kind of focus that each and every one is having. The art of leadership lies in weaving talents into harmonious tapestry of collaboration and synergy. We cannot be on our own. We need to have that kind of master plan. We need to agree on certain picture, then eventually allow each other's capacity and capability to be with that. Otherwise, we will never move as a country. If we will continue to entertain excuses along the way, handicapping conditions, uniqueness in itself, of course, that may not happen really. But if you put everything as if it is one, then you'll be able to have that significant right. And that is the Philippine scenario. Of course, my dear friends, our challenge this morning, and as you proceed with our duties and responsibilities, probably by then or by tomorrow, you're going to think of something as to how are you going to put our efforts into one and impact with high degree of intensity towards the promise that we have articulated of a better future and better life for everyone will come into reality. I am one in saying, with all confidence, with this magnificent individual in here present, I may not be the president of this republic, but something great will continue to happen in your respective care. Good morning again.
Thank you so much, Sir Nelson Morales Jr., Schools Division Superintendent, SDO Masbate. Okay, so we now award the plaque of recognition to Sir Nelson Morales. May I request the BOT to please join us here. But before we award the certificate, I have just few announcements. Okay, so we do apologize that we only have 2 food station and we cannot accommodate yung lahat muna. Okay, so later on po during ating lunch, para po hindi tayo mag-crowd sa likod, there are may number po na nakalagay dyan sa table nyo, and I will be calling the number of the table that will be proceeding to the food station para po hindi tayo mag-crowd. And the rest po, habang hindi pa po natatawag ating number, you may be seated first and wait for your turn, your numbers to be called. Okay, so 1 and 2, you may now proceed to the food station. Okay, so while we award the plaque of recognition to Dr. Nelson C. Morales, the citation reads, plaque of recognition is awarded to Dr. Nelson S. Morales Jr., Schools Division Superintendent, SDO Masbate City, and recognition for sharing his knowledge and expertise